Well, Blade fans, what have we got for you today? You probably recognize those initials as Love Them Knives. And yes, Love Them Knives has come out with a new knife design, his second one after the Vandal from Tucson, and lots of good things about this knife. And I bought this with my own money from White Mountain Knives, and I'm getting no remuneration from Love Them Knives. So what you hear about this is entirely my opinion and my observations. But great job, Lee, over at Love Them Knives. First of all, it's made by We Knives. Very, very nice. And comes in a nice pouch. It is branded under LTK Knives, so I expect we'll see some more coming out. And why make you wait? There it is. I got the red, kind of the coral red. There is also a green, and comes with a microfiber cloth. And he doesn't have any stickers yet. I think he does have stickers, but none with the knife. And there is a second button lock from Love Them Knives, made by We. All titanium handle and inset red. I'm going to call it like the coral red G10. I like that. It's not bright red. It's a nice color. Normally, I don't get into reds and bright colors and stuff like that. We've got a deep carry titanium clip, and I understand these are difficult to make, that they had to make a few mistakes before they got it right. But that is a bent titanium clip, much as you have a bent steel clip on some knives. So what is he waiting for? Why doesn't he show us the blade? Show us the blade. Show us the blade. Well, it's in the thumbnail, right? Here we go. Boom. I can't say bang. That's already taken. Beautiful stonewash, 20 CV blade. And unique thing about this knife, it is totally devoid of branding except right on the pivot. And that is very classy. Very classy. Button lock closes beautifully. And I'm going to show you some things about that button lock in a moment. Some things I really like, because it's a button lock done right as far as I am concerned. You can see we've got a good deal of engagement with that plunge lock not being shallow in there. It's gripping a good maybe third of the blade, I'm going to guess. Yeah, a good third of the blade. That's perfect, because it is recessed when you look at it this way. Just a tiny bit showing above the handle, and a countersunk pocket in the handle, so that if you accidentally press this way, you may get it to wiggle just a little bit, getting just a little bit of rattle there. Again, that's only if you're pressing it. But if you really want to close the knife, you've got to get the tip of your finger, your thumb, in there, and pretty much way in there. And why is that good? Because when you're using the knife, no matter what you're using it for, you're not going to accidentally close the knife on your fingers. It's a beautiful thing. We've got about a 3.5-inch clip point blade. Call it a Bowie-esque design if you want. Beautiful forward belly. Comes through sharp as the dickens with a high flat grind. Lots of heavy stonewash, as I said. Very grayed out stonewash on both the titanium handle and the 20 CV blade. And this clip is unique in that, look, it slots in from the end, so it is easily switchable from the right side of the knife to the left side. Protrudes somewhat proudly above the pommel, which means you get a true deep carry. And you've got that hidden lanyard pin right there. Short backspacer of titanium. The rest is wide open. It is not weight relieved, and yet it really isn't that heavy. Take a look inside. All you can see is the holes basically where they use that for, I believe, a peg or a pin or something that anchors the G10 pieces. And that's a lot of work to, even for a CNC machine, to mill out 5 of those hollows on each side and inset those pieces. So that's extra work, more above and beyond what it would be for one piece, one solid piece. So that is fancy for sure. We are going to measure it up. And we've got an overall, we're going to call that 8 1/4 inch right to the clip. And 3 1/2, maybe slightly more, like maybe we got a 3.55, something like that, blade with a cutting edge. Well, let's get the cutting edge. Cutting edge of 3 1/4 because of the finger choil, which actually works quite well. Let's take a look at the girths. And here we got a 3.1 millimeter blade stock. And that works out to 0.11 inches and a handle of 0.51. So just about a 1/2 inch handle, 3 millimeter roughly blade stock. Nicely done. And look at the jimping. I'm going to check that out in a moment, but let's get a weight before you wait much longer, since I took so long showing you the blade. Okay, here we go. In ounces. That's not ounces. What's going on here? It's probably grams. Bear with me. How did I do that? Probably pushed this guy. No. That's what I got to do. Sorry, folks. I usually keep it set on ounces. There's ounces. Ounces! Yay! Good old American British ounces. 4.522. 4.52 ounces. Why did I say 5 when it was 4? It is early, so sorry. 4.52 ounces. 4.52 ounces. It'll be correct when you see it pop up on the screen, hopefully. But don't mess that up too. Anyway. Oh, did I say? It's called the Rezult. And it is the result with a Z of the efforts of Love Them Knives, as well as Max to Chuck. So I am told in the review that I saw by Lee. So I was saying, and by the way, Max also helped on the Vandal, which was the predecessor to this knife, made by Tucson Knives. You know, he did so much right on this, and you learn from your first effort. First of all, the Vandal had issues. A lot of them did not open with the fuller, the way they were supposed to middle finger flick, and you had to push the button. This one has no difficulty opening with the flipper tab. The size of the flipper tab is just about right, with some nice jimping on there, so that's a plus. The jimping here on the handle is a plus. The good run of jimping, like about 1.5 inches or so on the blade, is perfect. It doesn't bite your finger, doesn't chew it up, and certainly it is very effective. We got a good amount of meat at the blade. I think the only thing he didn't do that I know that he likes is to give you as much blade to handle ratio as you can, but it's certainly not bad. It's about a 1/2 inch shy of the handle end. But again, there is a danger if you run that tip too close to the end, depending upon the blade profile and how it turns. So we got a muted flipper tab. We've got a beautifully done button with good engagement. So, you know, if I'm pushing here, that's not going to close. Accidentally pushing is not going to close the knife. It clicks a little bit because it begins to disengage the plunge lock. But if I push all the way in, it isn't until we reach there until that plunge lock is all the way in, until that blade is able to close. And that is a very well thought out thing. So now let's bring out, yes, the Vandal. And I can't even open this guy using this shallow fuller. I think lessons learned with that. We still got some great jimping on this. This is a big knife. For comparison, you can see that it is a full 4-inch blade, and that knife, pommel to pommel, is a good, like almost 2 inches longer. Taller blade, and it is about, maybe half an inch. I guess by measurement, it's about a half inch longer. Got some nice inset here of carbon fiber. It is on both sides, as Lee likes. If you watch his channel, you'll see kind of his likes and dislikes. It's got a milled titanium clip instead of the bent one. It's got lots of nice jimping, really texturing here. And here's the problem with the button lock. It's fine, it's solid, but you only need to push it that much. Look. Barely at all. And it's closing. So if you're worried about accidental closing with this knife, yes, it's going to be a problem. Same amount of pressure here as with the Rezult, and the result is that the blade's going to close. So I like this knife still, lots of good things about it. I don't know that I would, in hard use, trust the button for this not to close on my fingers. And with my finger there holding the knife, it definitely, well, I get a little bit of reprieve here from the heel of that blade. But that's the deal with that button lock. But he's in good company with that knife, because here's the Babylon from Max Ace, and we got the same issue. Almost even less. And now the Babylon, yes, the version 2 does come with a double lock. But that's an extra thing to engage and do. You open the knife and then have to lock it. But this is like nothing. It's a solid lockup, but it takes no movement of that button whatsoever to close that knife. So not a hard use knife, and not a combat use knife, tactical use knife, because, ooh, yeah, it's going to come right down on your finger. Beautiful knife, M390 blade and all. But I would not carry and use this knife. It's kind of a safe queen. Brings us back to the result of trial and error. You want a good, solid working knife that is a button lock. I would say it's safer than any other button lock out there for the most part. And I don't have the others here. I have lots of button locks. And I don't have some of the Civivis and the Sencuts and so on and so forth to show you. But trust me, this is a well done button lock. Here it is in comparison to a non-button lock, the Axis lock from Griptilian from Benchmade. And it is just a bit longer by maybe half an inch than the Benchmade. How does it stack up against the Rat 1? Well, Rat 1's probably going to be, Rat 1's going to be almost an inch longer overall, and barely half inch longer in the blade. Excellent knife. Good pricing on it. I think they're coming in around $220-ish at White Mountain. They are exclusively sold by White Mountain, and you will see the link in the description. Hope I've covered everything about this knife. Nice fuller there. Can we open it with a fuller? Oh yes, we can. And we know that it's an LTK knife because he likes to use the fuller open. So sorry I missed that. Anything else you have questions on, put them in the comments, or go over to LTK, Love Them Knives, and ask over there. He's got at least a couple of reviews up on this. I think a preliminary one and an in-depth one. And I'm sure there's other reviews coming out on this knife. Go out to White Mountain Knives, take a look. might be something you're interested in. If you do, don't forget to use my discount code OLDSWORD for 10% off. Be well, take care, and enjoy.